Hi, all, and welcome to our fourth episode of Leveraging AI in Subsurface Applications. Today, we have Prasad Raju, a PhD candidate at IIT Kharagpur, who will be sharing his research that is based on geophysical signal processing. As usual, we'll be asking him, picking his brain on his research. Then we'll go about talking more of how he has used, what techniques he's using, how much data he's using, what is the complexity of his problem. And then from there, we will move on to a lighter discussion of how AI, ML, and new techniques can actually improve subsurface identification better. And then also concluding it with the carbon capture, carbon sequestering, clean energy, clean tech, and all things that are really good for the earth. Okay. Without much ado, let's start interviewing Prasad Raju. So hi, welcome.
Hi,
So
thank you, Tanisha.
Raju,
It's a pleasure
yeah.
to be in this podcast.
Oh, great. Yeah. Thanks for picking up and being in the podcast. Yeah. That's really our pleasure too. So maybe let's start with your research. I know you did share your presentation. Maybe I'll just do a screen share and look at the presentation where you explain this to us. So yeah. So I know maybe I just I, yeah.
Yeah.
So actually, can you go about and tell us about these complicated graphs and equations?
Okay. So what I'm trying to do in my PhD is the application of adaptive data analysis techniques in geophysical signal processing. So geophysical signals are non-linear and non-stationary, and they are complex, and their properties uh, for changes uh, all the time. So to do that, to further analysis like with Fourier transform and all, they they do not work up to the mark because we need to have some assumptions like the signal should be stationary and there should not be any discontinuities and the signal
Mm-hmm.
should be periodic and some kind of assumptions we need to take when you are looking for using the Fourier transform. So in addition to Fourier transform, we have other techniques which can uh, adapt to the data and then gives us information about the signal.
Mm-hmm.
So that type of techniques that I'm trying to apply. So here we have this. This is a time series of GNSS, Global Navigation Satellite System. So this is from one of the station from Nepal. Uh,
So can you
and
tell us a little bit about GNS and GNSS? Maybe people might not know this terminology quite well.
yes, it is a like the position. So it determines the position with respect to time. So you are here at this point, and if you have moved to other points, so it will record your position with the time. So in the same
Mm-hmm.
way, we have a continuous like the GPS is installed in your phone in everywhere in most of the instruments. If you want to track the location of a particular object. In the same way, we have continuous GPS stations which are installed on the Earth to
Yeah.
monitor the tectonic movements and other
Mm-hmm.
changes on the crust, which changes with time.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay. So this is the change of the position of a station with respect
Mm-hmm.
to time from like you can see 2007.5 to 2018.5. So in this
Mm-hmm.
time range, and we have three components: east north component, east component, and then vertical component. So you get a three components from a
Mm-hmm.
single station.
Okay.
And
I,
these signals, so we model this signal uh, as a combination of different components, like the linear component that you can see is a linear signal. This is because
mm-hmm.
of the tectonic movement, and we can also see the seasonal signals, and there will be also like the transient jumps will also be seen. And we also see the exponential decay which happens after due to the relaxation after an earthquake,
Mm-hmm.
viscoelastic relaxation after an earthquake. And the additional epsilon of t is the noise, the residual of the signal,
Mm-hmm.
which is either a noise or an unmodeled component.
I see. Mm-hmm.
And so my currently my focus is on denoising of the signal. So here you can see the signals have the scatter uh, at this in the height component. We can see there is a scatter of the signals. So this is
Yeah.
because of the noise, and this noise needs to be removed. For that, there are other techniques that which which I earlier talked about. We have to apply some filter. Earlier, there used to apply some filters based on Fourier transform, but because of the shortcomings of the Fourier transform, it is not completely possible to remove such type of noise. So because that is where adaptive data analysis techniques comes into play. So this
Mm-hmm.
denoising I have done using the wavelet transform. Wavelet based denoising is one of
Okay.
the techniques which is one of the data adaptive technique. Like that, we have other techniques like empirical mode decomposition and empirical wavelet
Mm-hmm.
transform and variational mode decomposition and other techniques where we can decompose the signal and then
Mm-hmm.
take the components which are only important for us.
Okay.
Okay.
I see. So can we
Right.
move to next slide?
Yeah, next slide. So this is
Okay. Yeah.
the by applying data adaptive techniques, I want to decompose the signal and then use it for feature extraction, um,
Uh-huh.
and detect it for like the different components. Like I earlier said, the estimate the seasonals in estimating the transient jumps and in estimating the relaxation, scholastic relaxation, and also to use for this purpose, I'm using the geophysical signal processing adaptive techniques. So here
Mm-hmm.
the process is like this. We have to acquire the data from different uh, uh, regions or from different places. We have to take an area, and from there the area we have to take the uh, stations. Different stations will be there, and then acquire the data
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay.
like the coordinate timing, remove the noise and other artifacts that are disturbing our signal.
So one question. So what do you mean by feature extraction? So what features is it extracting from a signal?
So signal have different features like the energy, one of the feature.
Mm-hmm.
So the noise will have more energy, and the other the signal is normally having a less energy.
Oh, energy or less energy is a feature.
Yeah, yes,
So
energy is one of the
so what is more energy corresponding to? Like
because
more
the
movement
scatter,
or
the chaotic uh, nature of the signal.
oh, okay, I see. Okay. And what are these over here?
Yeah, actually, can you go to the previous slide?
Sure.
It's
Yeah.
not yet completed. So
Okay.
actually, these applications are already has been taking have been taking place in the EEG and the ECG signals in the
Mm-hmm.
healthcare, and also vibrational and engineering and neurological and geophysical and also finding financial data. So
Mm-hmm.
the methods that are there we have for us are the empirical mode decomposition and Fourier mode decomposition. That means the techniques are improving. So earlier they say that Fourier is not completely useful for the description of these nonlinear non-stationary signals. But because of the development of the algorithms, they have also think that with the use of um, some aid there also using Fourier signal for Fourier decomposition. And we have wavelet
Mm-hmm.
decomposition and we have a single spectrum analysis. The different methods which are in the adaptive data analysis. And
Mm-hmm.
it requires we need to be good at in you need to improve in mathematics, and it involves statistics and programming and subject knowledge for to apply it for a physical
Mm-hmm.
system.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I see. So let's move to the next slide.
Next slide. This is a time frequency representation. Normally, uh, if you see the Fourier spectrum, normally the spectrum means the frequency analysis of a signal.
Mm-hmm.
So how many frequencies are there? What is the amplitude of each frequencies? We can determine from the spectrum. But normally by
So this is the
using,
spectrum, right? You mean frequency
yeah,
spectrum here?
this is
Okay.
actually called as scalogram.
Okay.
So in a spectrogram, we will see only on x-axis you have a frequency, on y-axis you have amplitude, but you will not have you cannot determine at what time which frequency is present.
Huh. Hmm.
So the in time, but in time frequency analysis, we can be able to represent this data
Mm-hmm.
in both in time and frequency as well. So here you can see a single mono frequency component of the signal is a sine wave, and it has a
Mm-hmm.
single frequency. So that is highlighted here in the yellow
Okay.
color.
Yeah.
So because it is having a single frequency,
Single frequency. Uh-huh.
and it is in the next picture, it is a combination of three signals,
Right.
three
Mm-hmm.
frequencies. So so it is highlighted at different frequencies, and you can also see the frequencies. There are different frequencies. The signal is a combination of different frequencies. So
Hmm.
that is why
Yeah.
at each frequency you have a straight line, a constant line. But you can see in the
Mm-hmm.
third picture, with the time the frequency is increasing.
Mm-hmm.
The frequency is
With
increasing.
okay, I see. Mm-hmm.
That is
Yeah.
why you are able to see with the time this line is also increasing linearly.
You mean this line? Oh, okay, I
The
see.
yellow
Yeah.
line.
Yeah. The yellow
And
line
in the
over here.
same
Right.
way, same way you have the signal, the frequency which is oscillating type in the fourth picture, in the first picture from the in the bottom on the left,
Mm-hmm.
and you have three combination frequencies which are increasing. So like
Mm-hmm.
that, by using time frequency representations, we can determine at which time which frequency is dominant and which different types of frequencies are present.
Okay. I see.
Yes.
Uh-huh. Okay. Interesting. So
So
what is
so
your
this
da- sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
yes. So by using the data adaptive techniques, so
Mm-hmm.
we have minimized one of the drawback of the traditional signal processing techniques, in which we have, if you have a good resolution in frequency. Earlier it was like that. If you have good resolution in frequency, you will lose the frequency in time, the resolution in the
Hmm.
time. And if you have good resolution in time, you will lose the resolution in frequency.
Hmm.
So by
You could.
using
Mm-hmm. I see. Uh-huh.
this scalograms, you can see the signals, because we are
Uh-huh.
decomposing the signal and then representing in the form of
I think the presentation is no longer shared. Please share it again.
a spectrogram.
Uh, yeah, I stopped that sharing. Yeah.
Okay,
So
okay.
we are able to see the frequency
Mm-hmm.
components and the time components at the same time.
Okay. So I have a question. It's very, it's very technical. So you did show that, maybe you can again screen share. So you did show that, um, so how does your data look like? Um, okay, that's an
So
issue.
these are all like a models that I have shown.
So you're only using
Mm-hmm.
1D signal, right?
Yes.
Okay. And what happens when it goes into more dimensional signals? Then how does the frequency problem comes in?
Yeah, actually, like if you see in a signal we have different components. One is the actual signal. You see, suppose sinusoids will have a different frequency, and then
Mm-hmm.
noise will have high frequencies, so they will be seen as a scatter inside the spectrum.
Inside.
Yeah,
Okay.
So you are using
and
wavelet transform only, or you are using
yeah, there is also one more
short-term Fourier
technique
transform?
called yes, HHT. It is called Hilbert-Hung transform. So from there we analyze the signal in with respect to instantaneous frequency.
And there is one
Hmm.
short-term Fourier transform also.
Ah, yes.
You skipped that, or you never tried that.
Yeah.
Okay. And so what are your data challenges? Like, is it, do you, I mean, because you're using filter, you don't have to clean it anyways, right? Just use the raw data as it is coming in, right?
Yeah, actually, the GNSS receiver, it receives the signal like 1 second, one data point, or 30 seconds, one data point, like that.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So there a lot of corrections needs to be done,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of corrections, a lot of approximation. This all needs to be done, and then to get one data point per 1 day. So this takes a lot of time. We can do in our lab also, in academic labs also, but it takes a lot of time. So
Mm-hmm.
instead of that, a lot of open source data platforms are available, like the Nevada Geodetic Laboratory and the UNAFCO. One there we can get the data, and
Mm-hmm.
Wuhan University there is one website we will get the data. Uh,
Okay.
the processed data we can get.
I see.
And
Yeah.
also in India, we don't have a dense network of this GNSS time series.
Mm-hmm.
But in other countries, like in USA, the West Coast, we have a lot of so many like thousands of stations, hundreds of stations are available as a
What's
network.
the density in India, or what the data you are working with?
In
Any
India, we don't have much. Like in Hyderabad, it's very scattered. Like in Hyderabad, one station, Bangalore, one station, and then Kanpur, one station. And
Mm.
in Nepal, there is some good network, but the currently the data is not available.
I think if
Only
you are
few
outside
stations
the
are working.
country, you cannot just take the data from.
Yeah, the data is all open source. Data is available, but one more challenge is that um, sometimes the network will be stopped because
Oh,
of various reasons.
okay. Wow.
So you are basically
Uh,
working on this like denoising algorithm and
Yes,
extrapolation, both obviously. Like
yes.
you are trying to get the low
And there are
frequency.
also gaps in the data where the receiver stops working, or because of some
Yeah,
other
yeah. So
reasons. There are also gaps in
interpolation,
the data needs to be done.
extrapolation with a side effect of denoise,
That needs to be
mm.
done.
or all combined, maybe you could say.
Yes.
So coming to the question, so how, where do you see the deep learning or machine learning applications here? Will it be, can it be replaced with your the adaptive technique, or it can work inside like along with the techniques?
Yeah, a lot of techniques that I'm seeing in the literature, they are first decomposing the signal with the data adaptive techniques and using those decomposed components as a
Mm-hmm.
features for the neural network, trying to train the neural networks and getting the features.
Okay. So are you also planning to go in the same direction,
Yeah,
or
the next step after getting good
mm-hmm,
command over the denoising, the next step is to for
a trainer model? Okay.
yes.
Okay. And
How much data you have? Like
mhm, yeah, how
using?
much data you have here?
Yeah, data is like there are all over the world we have thousands of stations, and this data is all open source data is available.
So you
Okay.
are you playing? Are you playing with all the data, or like some specific area data?
Yeah, specific area. This Nepal is one area that I am currently working on.
Okay. I see. So maybe I like to make it a little bit simpler. So the end goal of this study, what is the end goal of this study? To know the tectonic movements, or what? What is the end goal?
Yeah, that I'm also trying to explore. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so this has applications in earthquake studies to monitor the tectonic movement. By monitoring the tectonic movements, we have it is also helpful in the earthquake studies, and it is also helpful in the mass changes, how the mass changes on the earth at a particular point. So in that case, we have to integrate with the help of gravity recovery and climate experiment. That is that time series also we have to integrate. So we cannot uh, rely on this data alone. We need to validate our findings with respect to other data like the GRACE data or the field data like the water vapor data,
Mm-hmm.
rainfall data, and all uh, to make decisions about our results.
Okay. So basically on the earthquake monitoring side, actually.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, so that's really interesting. So maybe we can go to now some fun questions. So what's your what's your opinion of clean energy? You are not even not right now working on oil and gas, but as a geophysicist, what's your opinion there?
So clean energy is something we have been hearing since a long time.
It will help. Yeah.
Till now, we haven't found what is the sure clean energy right now at this point of time. So solar
Yeah.
energy is not much available for everyone, and
Mm-hmm.
wind energy is also has some restrictions. Uh,
Right.
so uh, so as a geophysicist, one clean energy that we can think is the geothermal energy, where we can
Right.
drill inside the earth and use that heat, earth's heat,
Mm-hmm.
to
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I know it's a challenging. It's a
one more is
debatable
the
topic.
use of
Mm-hmm.
gas hydrates is one,
Gas hydrates, yes, for sure. Gas hydrates are there. Hmm.
but they are
Where is your
scattered. They don't have good distribution.
where is your maximum time? Like, where do you spend your maximum time in this whole research? Like, what is the hardest part here,
I
which you
couldn't
would
hear
like
your question.
to make it fast?
Can you come again? I couldn't hear
Yeah,
your
what is
question properly.
the slowest thing that you are doing every day in your research, which maybe AI ML can do if there is a bit of it, can make it faster. It can save your time a bit. Let's say whatever you do in 1 week or 1 year,
Mm-hmm.
can that be reduced to 6 months using some kind of technique? And if there is a technique like that, what do you think is your majority of the time taken in your everyday work in this interpolation, extrapolation, denoising?
Yeah, actually, AI and ML. Right now I'm not much focusing on them. So
No, so AI is basically what you are doing,
yeah,
coded in a in a coded format. Like whatever you are doing manually will
yeah,
be part of it will be done, let's say through
By
by
a
machine,
trained model.
by a trained
Yeah.
model. So
Yes.
that's where we want to know what is the hurdle that you face on every day or every week basis handling this data, which can create a trained model of like think like a think like your assistant. That, just ask your
yeah.
assistant if what is the major time consumption in your case.
So the major time consumption is to like initially to detrend the data and then removing the outliers.
Hmm.
Okay.
So
So like conditioning the data to go in those transform domain methods, you need to do some manual work in the beginning, right?
you need to inspect it, right? Like you have to
Yes.
like on the screen. Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
remove outliers. So there is,
right.
there might be some points which are like quite off.
Which are
If
mm,
that goes in the average calculation, that will ruin the calculation. So he
yes,
needs to edit those outliers by some
yeah,
methods. It's like, yeah, I think it
yeah,
can be done in an iterative way though, but yeah, something like that. I think that's the conditioning, the preconditioning of the data, you can say. There is like, I think in a
Yeah.
multi-dimension world, it's called preconditioning the data.
mm, right. Yeah, and then you can have an AI assistant who can actually remove those outliers
Yeah, some
rather than
preconditioning,
the
some
yeah the
preconditioning which
preconditioning.
he's
Mm-hmm.
doing manually, let's say, or even
Yeah.
using some help, like, like remove the outliers, like some outliers in the whole
Mm,
trend. So there could be like a like a low frequency thing, and plus minus something, and whatever is beyond that can be removed. Something like that training can be
mm,
possible, which I think might be available here and there, but not a very customized for the 1D signal that you are working with. So you need that specific training to handle earthquake data.
mm, right. Great, great. And maybe the last question again. I'll go back to again clean energy. What's your thoughts on carbon capture, carbon sequestering? So work going on in India, or maybe research work going in your group, or in
Yeah.
general?
In our group, it is not happening.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, in India, it is happening. Like we have there is a National Center for Carbon Capture that was recently established in IIT Bombay.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of different departments that are involved, like the earth science department, civil engineering people,
Mm-hmm. Right.
and climate department. These are all involved in that.
Yeah. And is there a target that you that's being set here, or no, not yet, anything like that?
I have no
You
idea.
don't know about those. Don't follow much. No, that's okay. But your research is very interesting, actually. Quite a lot of signal processing and so many tough equations. I remember those equations long time ago. But thanks so much, Prasad Raju, for sharing your valuable information, your research, and I hope our it will be good for our audience to know about this research. And maybe we'll stay tuned. We'll connect back when you have your. We really want to see how you develop your AI model, and
Yes.
then we can have another follow up podcast to showcase that. Okay.
Thank you so
Thanks.
much.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks
you.
everyone.